Buddy.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. All right. Just a quick reminder while this is the first thing on my mind today is, and I'm not necessarily married to these times, just so you know, but we have been for a while doing a growth mastermind from 8 o'clock to 8:30 on Wednesday. So for those that have sold, let's say 4 homes or more, that is a mastermind that I'd like for you to attend and enjoy. Okay, if you've sold less than that, you're more than welcome to come, but I want the content to be a little bit more higher level. The launch mastermind is generally Friday afternoon, which is those that are, let's say, three homes and less, right? Building your foundation, relaunching your business, that kind of thing. And anyone's certainly welcome to come to that, but the conversation and the topics will be probably a little bit more foundational and basic and that kind of stuff. Okay.
That's at 8 on Fridays?
No. So the growth is 8 to 8:30 on Wednesday, and Fridays, the time we've been doing it most recently is 1 o'clock on Friday. So right after the success series.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Don't forget also we have those 2 WhatsApp groups, one for growth and one for launch. So I'd love to see a little bit more activity in those if at all possible. Okay, good morning, everybody. How we doing? How we doing? Who has some good news?
Good morning. Good morning.
Ty had an aha today, right?
Yeah.
Tell us what your aha is.
Dedication. And everything isn't going to be a quick burn. And that's just the nature of the business. It is for the long haul. Like I was saying, if I make a physical call or expired calls and the answer is no, or I'm good, I'm like, okay, on to the next. And like you said, it's not about that. It's identifying an issue. And even if there is no issue, just offer your assistance and continue to nurture, or as Aubrey says, love on your database.
Yeah, I usually use the word flirt, but I've been told I shouldn't say that. Or court.
Well, this is a safe space, so I like that. Court. Okay, this is the safe space.
It's look.
Sorry,
Bill, I was going to share something else too.
Yeah, please.
Hey, so I wanted to share that on Monday, I actually had an opportunity to also have a conversation with Ricky Caruth.
Yeah.
And that was actually pretty cool. If you guys don't know, Ricky Caruth, of course, does a lot of cold calling and stuff like that. So he called and we had a full conversation about questions that I had. And the main advice that he gave on the phone, since he's like, doing a lot of free education to everybody if you've never heard of him. But his main advice is like literally what we talk about all the time. Stay focused on nothing else but the database, building a database, no matter how many calls you got to make, just building your database and don't even focus on your deals altogether. So I just wanted to share. I thought that was good because it's great, when you get to link up with people that definitely are exponentially doing so much and just hear they're saying that their key to everything is. And at the end of the day, that sounds like what his was.
Yeah, if I can piggyback on one idea there, the only edit I would make to that is when it's lead generation time, there is nothing else you need to be thinking about other than lead generation, right? So if it's 9 to 11 or 9 to 12 or whatever, like it doesn't make a difference what's happening in a real estate file. It can wait an hour. Okay. If there's a fire in the building, somebody will come and get me. I'm making calls, right? I am focused. And when that time period is over, then I'm not focused on lead generation anymore. Then I'm focused on maintaining my transactions and calling back people that I left a message for. You guys, like, I got to tell you, probably one of the biggest changes, and this is maybe a little odd advice, but one of the biggest changes that ever happened to me in my real estate business was when I stopped answering the phone. Right? I know that sounds insane, but I hardly ever answer the phone. Okay? Because I'm running my own play. And there's time in my day where I'll get to everyone else's play. But right now I'm focused on running my play, right? Now I got everyone's number saved in my phone. I know who's calling me and I know when things could be an emergency. I'm not telling you I'm ignoring things. I think I've proven to each of you that I don't ignore things, right? But if I'm in the middle of negotiation with somebody, do you think that there's potentially an advantage to letting the phone ring and letting them leave a message? Letting them wait it out for a couple of minutes or a couple of hours, right? Sometimes I want to hear the tone in their voice when they're leaving a message so I can hear if they're aggressive or not aggressive. I can hear if they're in a hurry or not in a hurry. I can hear if they're kind of getting worried, if I'm wearing them down a little bit. You see what I'm saying? Half the time the message is, hey, don't bother calling me back. All is good. I just wanted to send you an update on something. That would have been a 20-minute phone call that wasn't necessary. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not telling you to ignore every phone call. Please don't hear that. What I'm telling you is every time you allow somebody else's priority to interfere with your plan, you've chosen their priorities over your priorities, right? Every time when you know damn well there's something you need to do and you go check your email, you're saying, what my 411 tells me to do, which is what I told my coach was important to me, and we all agreed was the most important thing I could be working on today. I'm going to put that to the side for a second and go see if anyone has posted any cute memes that I should like. Right? Or sent me some email that, by the way, if they send you an email, they're telling you it's not a priority. Okay? There's never been an emergency email in the history of email. Never. Okay? If it was an emergency, they'd call you. Okay? My wife and I have a deal. She calls me like 2 or 3 times in a row. I pick up the phone. Otherwise, I'm probably in the middle of something. And as soon as I have a break, I'll get to you. You see what I'm saying? Was there something, Ty, did you want to say something?
The struggle is real with that because I have other things going on and it seems to always fall during lead gen time. I'm 4 months in and I don't have a regular lead gen time. I want to, but it's like we've got Chartmasters today. We've got an opportunities with Sam at 10 a.m. coming up this week. There's always something that gets in the way. And then if you erase, you replace. My day's packed. I got a lot going on and there's no replaceable place. I mean,
Greta, with the classes,
can I be honest with you?
Yeah, help me out.
Ty, what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say, because I ran into that too. My first time with Keller Williams, you're so packed with so much information that you need or think you need. By the time the day is over, you've been in 9 different classes and learned a lot, but you haven't drummed up any business. But now they tape everything, like everything.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing of this is
I get the taping thing, but that still requires time at some point.
Well, there's no way. I hate to say it this way to you, Greta, and to everyone. This business requires time, right? It's gonna require time at some point anyway, right? You're gonna have to learn about Chartmasters. You're gonna have to make your calls. You're gonna have to learn the market. You're gonna have to follow up. You're going to study all that. That's not going to change. The way is the point is, what are you spending your time on during those precious moments? So, for example, I love Andy and Leslie, and they have awesome presentations, but today is potentially Bold 100, where if you looked at your calendar and said, well, man, I didn't have quite the January I had, and my pipeline isn't as full as I need it to be, okay, then you can watch the Chartmasters video with headphones as you're falling asleep. The work day is for work. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, Sam has a video. I get it. A lot of us are learning command. I know that's important. Watch it when you watch it after hours, or watch it as you're falling asleep. And if you have a follow-up question, send them the question or ask the question in here. Maybe we can help. But sometimes these classes are a very convenient way of making you feel like you're working when you're just kind of there. You're not really working. You can't pay your bill by saying, hey, I went to Andy and Leslie's class. They're like, yeah, but we need money.
Well, I just feel like I don't have the tools, to do what, they're like, you need to have a system. And what you do is when you get business, if you haven't been doing this other stuff, your system is not in place, and then you're done, and then you don't have a system in place.
Well, we're building the systems, right? As we get a contract and as we have new files, we're learning opportunities. We're learning how to, keep our files straight. We're making sure our presentations are ready. We're learning how to do comps. Like it takes some time. There's no doubt about that. My point is that every single day, no matter what, we should have time earmarked for nothing but lead generation. Nothing but trying to find people that need assistance with their real estate, whether it's immediate or future assistance. Okay. All right. Let's jump into the listing agreement. Is that cool? Does anyone else have any thoughts or ideas? All right. I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and we'll walk you through exactly what we did yesterday. Just give you another peek at how we got to the paperwork. Okay, how you get to DocuSign. So we went to agent. I'll show you one more time. Agent.kw.com. It pulls up this home screen here. Okay, we're going to go to opportunities. We're doing the listing agreement today, so we're kind of doing it flip-flop from what we did yesterday. But I'm going to go to my appointment file from yesterday. And I'm going to look for Rick Linkwald. Remember, we did Rick Linkwald yesterday to go through the purchase and sale agreement. Today, we're going to put together a listing agreement for him. Okay, so he said, hey, let's do it. Let's agree. So we clicked on his file. We go to documents. Okay, then we go to the transaction. Oh, it wants me to sign in. Hang on. Just a second. Okay, so remember the only doc we have here is the purchase and sale, what we did yesterday. And then we're going to add computer. Remember, that's if like it's a PDF that you're going to bring into the system, like for an initial or something like that. DocuSign Forms is where you find the GAR forms. Okay, then we go to Georgia Association of Realtors, and we type in listing agreement. So that is exclusive seller listing agreement right here. Okay, add it.
Bill,
Okay.
I missed this part yesterday. Do you know when they're going to have the logoed ones within Keller Williams, the new 2021 documents?
They have the 2021 documents are here. That's what we're pulling up here. See
Yeah,
that?
but they don't have the logo?
They don't have the KW logo. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I can see if I can ask today, but I don't know about that.
Okay, just curious.
But
Is
it's
it
not
necessary?
it's not necessarily a requirement.
Okay.
It's just more like, because it tells you, number one, it identifies that it's the GAR forms right here, and and then it also identifies that it's your that you're the licensee down here. So yes, it looks, it's something that's possible. I don't know if they're trying to drag it in or not, but it's not a requirement of the contract, so to speak.
They just have the 2020 documents if you go through my templates. And
That's because you're in templates.
yeah,
versus
no,
dark ones.
I was just hoping they'd have I was wondering when they're going to have the 2021 ones in the template.
Yeah, I can ask about that. I'm not positive.
Okay.
But remember, if you've done templates for 2020, you're probably gonna have to go back and do them again for 2021. The good news is you just have to do it once. Okay.
And I will say, I think it's much better to not use templates, honestly, because you can make changes to the forms. Whereas if you use templates, you have to basically start over again.
Yeah.
That's what I've found too. And like the thing, I would think that the item that is the most likely thing to be templated, so to speak, is all your special stipulations, right? So there's only like 5 or 6 special stipulations that you use most often, right? So you could save that in like a Word file, and then when you're going to create the offer, you just cut and paste, seller to furnish, community HOA documents and rules and regulations and bylaws and all the amendments to those bylaws within 3 days of binding agreement date. Seller to provide a 1-year home warranty at a cost not to exceed this. in the escalation clause, like there's only 5 or 6 that we typically use, and we have a special stipulation sheet for some of those examples. So I agree with Pam on that. I find that it just creates an extra step or two that's unnecessary. And the biggest reason to use it, you can solve most of those reasons by either having a complete profile and making sure that your contact page is complete with, like, first name, last name, email, all that stuff, and by what am I trying to say? Making sure that both the agent and the client file is that way, or client contact page, and that you have like your special stipulations kind of in like a Word doc that you can access at any time and just cut and paste. Okay. One of the first changes that you see for this agreement is that it's now called the Exclusive Seller Brokerage Engagement Agreement. It used to be called the Exclusive Seller Listing Agreement. Okay. They've tried to clarify a number of things. Now they say that there's, instead of it being a listing broker and a selling broker, that was last year's terminology and really forever's terminology. This year it's the seller's broker and the buyer's broker. Okay. All right. Some of the same stuff, by the way, the video from yesterday, we did a purchase and sale agreement. We covered about half of it on Monday, half of it on Tuesday. Both of those videos are uploaded. Did anyone see anything that changed on the YouTube page yesterday, by the way? Has no one been to the YouTube page in the last 24 hours? Oh my gosh, I'm so disappointed. We put a couple cute graphics up there. Let me know what you think, okay? Don't let me bust you again. Okay. Y'all are so quiet. I can't get a laugh or a smile or anything. Man. Okay. You're still there, right?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. Oh gosh, you guys got me worried. Okay, this section here, section A, basically the same as the purchase and sale agreement. Okay, we're going to write down the address, the county, the tax parcel ID. You're going to either acknowledge that you don't have to check a box here necessarily like you would in the purchase and sale agreement to identify what the legal description is, right? Is it attached as an exhibit, or do you basically have it in your hand and you're just going to put in what the land lot number is and the block and the unit, phase, and land lot and all that kind of stuff? Any of that is acceptable. I tended, just for the in my time, I just liked having the legal description attached as an exhibit. Okay, remember, if you are in the process of courting a seller and you're getting closer, just send Kern an email that says, hey, can you send me the legal description for 123 Hill Street in Smyrna, and Bob and Joe Smith are the sellers, and it is in Cobb County, right? If you send them the address, if you send Kern the address, the seller's name, and the county that the home is in, that is the easiest way to get a quick legal description. You get it from her, it's free. They do pay for a little subscription, but they don't charge us for it, okay? Okay, list period. Here's where you put the sales price or the listing price. Now, they do have a new line here from this year. So it says the price at which the property shall be listed for is blank. Let's say it's $300,000, okay? The term of this agreement shall begin on the date of, that's the starting day of the agreement. So most likely that would be the day that you're signing the paperwork, and made available to the public on the date of. Let's say that they've got to have, let's say the pictures taken and the place professionally cleaned and maybe some carpet replaced or something like that. It's going to take 2 weeks. So that might be 2 weeks from now, this date right here. Okay, so you get a commitment so you can claim the listing, so you can begin to make some phone calls, maybe so you can begin to kind of get some of your back office stuff figured out for the listing, make sure your sign's ordered and yada, yada, right? Schedule the open house. A lot of this stuff is happening behind the scenes while the seller is prepping their home. Okay, then on the marketing commencement day, let's say that's 2 weeks later, that's the date you would put there. If you don't know what the marketing commencement date is, just put to be determined. Okay, ending date. By the way, I may get a little pushback from this. I'm not sure what Melba would say, but I never really liked settling on a price until the very last second. So I might say to them, hey, looks like we're probably in the, 300 to 310, somewhere in that neighborhood, but it's going to depend on what happens in the market in the next 2 weeks while you're prettying this place up, right? So if something comes on the market that's more attractive than yours or bigger than yours or more updated than yours, and it's on the market for 295, then we can't list at 300 anymore, right? So I would even consider putting to be determined here. And then at the last minute, you can re-sign it with a full price and start date, okay? Ending date, I would generally say that you should aim to have a listing agreement for, I would say, absolutely no less than 90 days, preferably more like 120 days. And if you're listing a home that I'm going to say is above, let's say $500,000, then it should be more like 6 months. Okay. The idea there is if you get an $800,000 home, there's less people in the world that can afford an $800,000 home, and therefore it's likely going to take a little longer to sell, and therefore you want a little longer listing period. Plus, you're going to start spending money right away, right? You're going to buy a fancy sign, and you're going to, people that come to an open house of an $800,000 home might expect a little bit more. How do I want to say this? This is a different caliber person, right? They might want to expect a little bit more of a luxury presentation, right? You may need to hire an aerial photographer, a drone photographer, or Matterport, or one of these things to present, because the marketing, it needs to be on par with the type of property it is, right? If you got an $800,000 home, don't go put a $25 sign in the front yard. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Marketing, section 3. Broker agrees to file this listing with the following multiple listing services. That would be First Multiple Listing Service, FMLS, Georgia Multiple Listing Service, GAMLS, and Keller Williams Realty Keller Williams Realty Listing Service, KWLS. Okay. Section 4, commission. Section A, on the left-hand side, you're going to check one of these 3 boxes. Typically, you would check this box right here. And, commissions are negotiable, but let's assume that we put 6% here. Okay. And this is where what you would do here is if it was like a flat fee or something like that. Let's say you were selling a piece of land for $35,000 or something, and you want to be paid more than $1,000, which you should be paid more than $1,000. Maybe you do a minimum of flat fee of, let's say, $2,000 or $1,500 or something like that. Okay. The broker agrees to pay cooperating broker, if any, blank percent. So typically that's where you would put the other half. Now let's cover a couple of commission discussions real fast. First of all, the way that this reads is that the seller will pay the broker the following commission at closing of the contract. So if an unrepresented buyer tries to buy the home, the listing agreement states that the seller will pay you 6%, and if there is a cooperating broker, then you will split that commission with the cooperating broker. It does not mean that if the buyer is unrepresented, that you make that you only get paid 3%. That's not the way the contract reads. So if ultimately that is the way that it's negotiated, like if the seller's like, hey, that guy's not represented, so I want to pay you 3%, that's not the way the contract reads. You're free to negotiate that, but you are not, that's not the way it reads typically, okay? I am a proponent of, I believe that, unfortunately, this is the way the world works. If you put less than 3% for the moment on that buyer brokerage commission, you're gonna get the home shown less. I think it's just natural. 5-10 years from now, I don't think there'll probably be anyone getting 3%. Okay, that's a whole different discussion. But for now, if you put 2.5%, let's say you negotiate the commission down to 5%, and you take 3 and give the other side 2, ooh, it's not going to be a pretty closing table. See what I'm saying? And you'd probably be hard pressed to find anyone that'll want to help you sell the home. So if you can't negotiate a full commission for yourself, don't take it out on the other agent. They should be paid. Okay? Make sense?
Bill,
Yes, ma'am.
if the other side is unrepresented, and you're still getting the full 6% of the commission, you're in no way obligated to do anything with that buyer side, correct? Like, so, like, let's just, let me start there. Let me ask that question first, and I have another one.
Again, everything is negotiable. So at the end of the day, we're trying to get to the closing table. So you can hold off and be like, hey, you're paying me 6% because that's what the contract reads. And they're like, well, if I have to pay you 6%, then I can't agree to this offer. So it's your turn to decide if you're willing to move. Right. So like the seller could say that to you. And then you say, okay, let's negotiate. You see what I'm saying? So like you can hold on to as much as you want, yet that's the only thing you can control, right? So you can make whatever decision you want. You just have to be comfortable with the ramifications of it, right? So more often than not, you'd probably end up taking a little bit of a haircut and take less than 6 because you're really doing both jobs, but you're probably not going to be paid a full commission to do so. You see what I'm saying? I'll give you an example.
Yes.
There's one time I was working with a buyer. He saw a home, liked the home, wasn't ready to move forward. By the time that he was ready to move forward, this is a long time ago, different market, he reached out to me and he said, hey, that home that we saw, I forget what it was, in Alpharetta, can you call the seller or the listing agent and see if that home's still available? It had expired. Okay, so I called the owner directly, and I said, hey, my buyer wants, because he wasn't represented, right? Because that listing had expired. So I called the owner directly and I said, I'm working with a family that looked at your home 3 months ago when it was available. Are you still interested in selling? Right? And he said, yeah. I said, great, let's meet. And he ended up paying me 4% to basically do the deal, to represent the buyer, yet he paid me a little bit more to, kind of handle some of the paperwork on the seller side. You see what I'm saying? So everything is negotiable, but understand that if you're going to try to pay the buyer's agent less than what they typically could get if they helped another, or if they helped that buyer buy something different, you're gonna see the ramifications of that throughout the process.
Hey,
If
Bill,
you're
it's
lucky-
Janice.
If you're lucky enough to get to the process. Go
I
ahead.
agree with you. You can't purposely avoid a 2.5% or whatever, but I agree. I think there is a little hesitation on buyers agents to show anything less than a 3%. But if you're the buyer, if you end up being the the broker for both the buyer and the lister, one tool you can use to say to the person that's buying is that, I would be open to providing you, if I sell your house, we could work something out. So you could help the buyer in that regard.
There's about 500 questions I would ask them before I volunteered that, though.
Oh.
So don't
Okay.
rush to give away your money. Ask them why that's important to you. Prove your value.
Oh, no, I
Over and
wouldn't, I
over.
wouldn't discount, no, I'm saying I wouldn't discount this. I'd do 6% and 3, yeah. But
Okay,
I'm saying,
this section right here, see at the top, that's a new section
Oh.
here. The only example I can think of is I don't see this so much anymore, but you used to see, hang on just 1 second for me. I'll be up in just a minute. Used to see this a lot, whereas like, if I show your buyer the property, commission will be 1% or something like that. So it's like the commission is paid under certain circumstances or not paid under certain circumstances. Section C right here is where you would detail that. I never liked that phrase. Okay, our job is, we were hired by the seller to sell the home. If that means you show a house, then it means you show a house, period. Okay, not the, well, your agent's on vacation, I can't help you. That's just not, we're trying to build reputations here, right? Do you want a reputation for being the person that goes out of their way to get the deal done and create a win-win for everyone? Or do you want to be the guy who's building a reputation that basically implies that your time is more valuable than somebody else's? Make sense? Okay, separate commission on lease. This is if the person, like for example, decides they think they want to buy and then they ultimately lease. That happened to me a bunch of times. Again, I'm more interested in the long-term agreement. I'll probably get paid at helping them lease anyway. I'm not going to fight them on that right now. I want the relationship. So I would generally put 0 or NA there. Okay. Protected period. It details what the protected period is down in this section here. I would generally have a period of about 90 days there, 90 to 120 days. Okay. Agency. Section 6, we offer all types of agency. However, you do need permission, as we stated yesterday, for dual agency. Dual agency, state of Georgia does allow that. That's when the same agent represents both the buyer and seller in the same deal at the same time, both as clients. Okay, it is legal in the state of Georgia. We do require that you get permission on a case-by-case basis from the team leader. The team leader, as I understand it, will grant you permission so as long as you essentially can explain what you're supposed to do and not supposed to do, right? If you understand the limitations of your new role, right, and you understand what you can do and what you cannot do, and you can prove that to Aubrey, more than likely he will grant you permission to do it. Does that make sense? But remember, it is also possible to represent the seller as a client and the buyer as a customer. Okay.
So Bill.
Yeah.
In that example you gave earlier where you reached out to the seller, you treated that seller as a client?
No, I treated that seller, good question. I treated that seller as a customer.
Got it.
Great question. Because it
So when
was an unlisted property. So the document that we signed he was essentially a FSBO, right? He went from kind of an expired listing to a FSBO, if you will. So the document that we signed for that is a document that's called the authorization to show unlisted property. And it was an agreement between the seller and I that basically identified the seller as my customer, and it identified my client, the buyer, by name, and then said, if this guy buys your property, I will be paid X. And I have permission to market this property, or not market, but to share that it's available with these terms to this particular buyer. Make sense?
And you were able to negotiate a 4% over a 3?
Yeah, I mean, he's lucky he got 4. I'm doing double the work.
Yeah.
Right. In reality, I'm not like, I didn't have to take pictures. I didn't have to stage it. I didn't have to go over there a bunch of times. I didn't have to pay somebody to put the listing in, or any of that kind of thing. I didn't have to make a presentation. I didn't have to prepare for the presentation or any of that. So I guess in theory, I didn't do all the work to get 2 full commissions.
So Bill, a
But
question here too.
but I did take 4. Yeah.
So if you go to in this instance, you didn't have to put the listings in any of the multi-listing services. Does it show up then when you go back and research the property later, does it show up as having sold, or how do you?
Good question. The question's actually more complicated than you're making it seem, to be honest. But basically, the record of the sale will be in the tax records. Okay, so if you're searching the tax records for the sale, then you will find record of the sale. Basically, you're asking me if there's a private sale, how do you find out about it, right?
Yeah.
So if you were to look in the tax records, you will see that transaction happened. Okay, what you will not see is the home's details in FMLS, for example. Now, FMLS does allow you, although I don't know if I've ever encountered this happening, once the private sale has been completed, they will allow you to put the home in the FMLS at no charge for the benefit of the real estate community, so to speak, right? So like I bought the home my family lives in now, we bought off market. Okay, so if you were to go into FMLS, you would not see it. If you were to go into the tax records, you would see the sale. If I had an extra 2 hours, which I don't think I've had an extra 2 hours since I had my first kid, then I might, for the benefit of the real estate community, put the details of my listing in the system so that future agents and future buyers and sellers could see what the home sold for in some detail. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, so okay, cool. All right, let's try to wrap this up. Section 7 is basically special circumstances that the seller is encountering. So that require third-party approval before the seller can do the following. So if the file is, if the sellers or any of the sellers are going through any type of bankruptcy or divorce, like if the divorce decree requires that certain people approve it, or the estate requires that certain people approve it, or something like that, that's where you would detail that. And certainly if the property is a short sale, you're going to have the lender, the seller's lender, approve of taking the lower amount. Section 8, seller does or does not authorize the broker to assist. That generally is the one on the left, does allow the broker to assist in negotiating. Okay. As we see with all contracts, basically all the numbers are on the front page, and all of the descriptions and explanations of what those phrases mean is on the subsequent pages. Okay, so please take some time to read through this. It's a lot of information here. Okay, it's only an 8-page contract because there's been 8 pages worth of lawsuits to sort out things that people fought about. Okay, goes through how does the seller default, buyer, broker and seller's duties to one another, right? So do you think it would possibly be helpful to understand what your duties to the seller are? I think so. Okay, so read through this document very, very closely. Okay. This is similar. We see a lot of things repeating itself over paperwork. Okay, so this is the following brochures have been received by the seller. Okay, the ones that I would check are always the ABCs of realty. If the home was built prior to 1978, I would share the lead-based paint pamphlet with them. Okay, I would share the mold pamphlet with them. I would share the EPA's guide, or EPA's home buyer and seller guide to the radon pamphlet. And if they're not completely freaked out by both of those pamphlets, you're lucky. If you've ever read them, it's a little scary. Okay, protect yourself when selling a home. And if the home is a distress sale is a foreclosure or a short sale, then you would check that. Okay. Your job then, of course, is to send them these documents. So you would go in and find the documents, just like we found this one. And what I would generally do is download them all and then send them an email that says, per the listing agreement, you will be acknowledging receipt of all of the attached documents. Let me know if you have any questions. And that's an email that can be that will exist forever. So it's proof that you shared it with them. Okay. Then
Can you put it, I put them in an envelope and sent like everything over with
that's
all of
certainly,
that works too?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Exhibits, section 11. That's where you would attach any exhibits that will later be named, or that will be named as a part of the listing agreement. Okay, I shouldn't check. I didn't mean to check this. Okay, any special stipulations? Okay, if you have additional special stipulations, you check that box. And remember, the listing agreement is between the broker and the principal, right? The seller, which means you want to have all their contact information in here, their email address, their cell phone number. For those that missed yesterday, if it is a because by the way, this document is not shared with the other party, right? We're never going to share the listing agreement with the buyers, right? But if it's a document that all parties will need fully executed contract with, for example, the purchase and sale agreement's the biggest example. It asks for the seller's example, seller's number, seller's email address. And I suggested yesterday you wipe that clean. That's none of their business. If they want to talk to my seller, they call me. That's my job. I'm the middleman. Okay. Because if they get a hold of the seller, so first of all, people like to talk. And second of all, they're not trained in negotiation, most likely. So I'm in charge of that. You want to talk to my seller, you got to go through me. Okay. That's another reason why, for example, the seller should not be at the home inspections when the home is being inspected. They should not be there when the home is being looked at, because the buyer's agent, if they're good, will ask a bunch of questions, and they will ultimately say something, the seller will, that will work to their disadvantage in terms of the negotiation. Oh, well, we just bought a home down in Key West. Ooh, okay, so you're paying 2 mortgages now. Great, good to know. Thank you. See what I'm saying? The more you open your mouth, the worse it's going to be. If there are additional special stipulations, or I'm sorry, additional signature page, you check that box and make sure that this is complete. All the numbers that you put here would count for notification. So I said this yesterday, If you don't want to be notified by fax or any contractual, like giving notice and stuff, don't put a fax number. Okay. And if you put an email address, make sure you check the email. Okay. And then once it's been fully executed, you would send a copy of receipt of a copy of this agreement that's hereby acknowledged by the seller. And you could send that over to them for signatures. Okay. Or just type in their name there. Okay. Make sense?
Yes, and just for clarity, when you email something at the time of the email, that's considered receipt of by the other party?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's right, Pam, right? Pam?
Sorry, I'm sorry. What was the question?
Greta, can you ask that again, please?
Just when you email something, like when I email over something, once it leaves my email box, it's time stamped, and that's considered when they receive it on the other end, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. I always put a little note in there that says, please confirm receipt. Most of the time I get it. Sometimes I don't.
I
Okay.
also always call or text the agent when I've sent them an offer.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hey, offer's coming. And then when it went there, it's like, hey, we're offer number 34. Want to let you know we're working with Kathy Vitale, Shelter Mortgage. She'll be calling you in 5 minutes. I got the best borrower in the history of borrowers. We want to win. Did I miss anything? I'm gonna be the best co-op agent you've ever worked with. We all deserve a slam dunk, don't you think? Ha ha ha. I'm building rapport, right?
How do you know what offer number you are?
I was just being silly there, but you know, good question. I'm just saying more often than not, we're competing, right? As a buyer's agent, we're competing with other offers. So we want to say, hey, I just didn't want to be like one of 40 offers that you got. I want you to understand who I am and how hard I'm going to work to get this file to closing, and who my buyers are and how cooperative they're going to be to get this file to closing. Right?
Yeah, and if there's just several offers that are very similar and yours is one of them, this may be the point that helps your buyer get that offer, because you're the one that took the time to make this conversation, have this conversation, and to show how easy you are to work with.
That's right. And so that begs another topic, which is, what is it like to be in your environment, right? So for example, like when you're not only trying to behave and impress future buyers and sellers, you're also trying to behave and impress future co-op agents, right? I will tell you, this business is a whole lot easier when you know people, right? I've said a bunch of times in here, I can call a bunch of agents and say, hey, hey, Kevin, this is Bill over in Roswell. Hey, Bill, what's going on? Been a long time. Yeah, I see your home in your townhome in Decatur. You have any offers? Yeah, we got 16 offers. It's been on the market for 3 minutes. Oh, great. Well, my buyer is really well qualified, and I want to know what I need to give you to win. Bill, I'm so glad that you called. I need a slam dunk so bad, and I know how hard you work, and I know you don't work with unqualified buyers. So why don't you just give me 452, 3,000 in closing, and don't ask for a home warranty, and let's close in March, and the deal's yours. Ooh, thank you very much. Then I go to the buyer and say, hey, I'm not forcing you to buy this home, but what I've learned is that this is what it's going to take. So let's look at the data together to determine if you feel like that's an appropriate package. Make sense? Otherwise, I just end up being on some Excel spreadsheet. You see what I'm saying? And then the only way to separate yourself is by financing and sales price and no closing cost and pure luck. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. Was today helpful?
Every day's helpful.
Oh, Greta, that means the world to me. Thank you.
She's right.
All right. Okay. 2 quick things. Number 1, just a reminder, from 12 to 1 on Friday, we're going to be having Kim Hutchins in the group for the Success Series. She's a longtime agent at the office, top producer, multi-year ALC member. She is the inaugural social equity ALC committee chair. And she and I have been friends for many years, and I'm excited to welcome her. That's Friday from 12 to 1. So please Please participate in that. Chartmaster starts in like 12 minutes or so. That's going to be broadcast on the Georgia Legacy Group. It will be recorded. You can watch it later. Okay. And then Friday, I sent out a registration link like 2 days ago. And the Southeast region is doing a like a rookie mastermind. It's like geared towards agents that are likely in the productivity coaching programs throughout the Southeast region. It's a free event. It's from 9:30. They actually didn't put a stop time on it, but I think it's an hour, 9:30 on Friday. You just have to register and you get obviously free access to that. I don't think that's going to be recorded. So that's one that you might want to consider attending live. Jenny Mosier, who was the former director of sales for the Peters Group or Peters Company, is now the leadership executive director for the Southeast region. She's going to be running that.
Where
so
would we find the link for that, Bill?
that was posted on the announcements page a couple of days ago. I'll see if I can find it. I also posted the names of another 18 people in the PC group that won tickets to Family Reunion yesterday. So congratulations. I think we're up to like 40 or 45 people in our group have tickets now for free. And I also posted a investor, what did I call it? We got a great agent in our office who shared the investor cash flow spreadsheet. So if you're ever working with investors and you're trying to crunch, return rates and, renovation budgets and these kind of things, I didn't create the spreadsheet, but that's a good starting place for you, certainly. That is in the WhatsApp announcements page. And let me see if I can find that document. Oh, here we go. All right, I'm posting it again right now in the announcements page for a let's see, for the session 9:30 on Friday. Okay, last message. Today is Bold 100. Okay, here's my request for everyone. I'm going to leave this room open all day. Okay, we're going to turn off the recorder. You can take off your video if you prefer. Obviously, mute yourself. And I want you to think of this as kind of your lead gen room. If you want support as you are pressuring yourself to do more than you're used to doing, I want you to come in this room and get some support and give some support. Okay, if we have one-on-one coaching sessions today, let's do it by phone instead of by what do you call it? A Zoom. Okay. So all coaching sessions today, the one-on-ones, here we'll still meet in person, but everyone else will be over the telephone, okay? Let's see. Here's what I want you to think of for today, okay? I know that many of us have never done 100 contacts in one day. I get it, okay? Nothing would make me prouder than you pushing yourself to get to that number. If you look at that and you say, peace out, Bill, I ain't hanging out with you guys and I'm afraid to do 23 and for fear that somebody's going to do 100 and I'm going to feel like I didn't work hard, please squash that. Okay, today's goal is to push yourself to do more than you've ever done. Okay, make a few extra phone calls, say to yourself, hey, today I'm adding 5 people to my pipeline. I'm adding 25 people to my database. I'm adding 6 people to my database. I don't care, just push yourself today. Okay. Today is to give you more evidence, more proof that you can do more than you think you can do. Okay. So turn off the app notifications, turn off Facebook, close down your iPad. Today is about growing our database and finding people who want to transact with us in the next 12 months. Okay. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. The good news is we've been doing Bold 100s for about 7 or 8 months. No one has ever gotten hurt doing it. And people all over the country have been doing Bold 100s for over 12 years. And to my knowledge, no one has ever gotten hurt doing it. Okay. We help people. There are a lot of people out there that need help. Okay. If you don't call them, they're going to end up in the hands of a weak agent. Do you want people in your community to get screwed over? To not take every dollar they can take to the bottom line? I didn't think so. Okay. So I'm going to turn off the recorder. You guys are not even paying attention. Greta's had this free ticket out there for 3 minutes and no one has jumped on it? Wake up, y'all. All right, you must
I'm
be
listening, Bill. I'm
you guys
listening.
you guys must be waking up and saving your energy for the Bold 100. So let's support each other today. I will be making calls throughout the day as well. So if you need me for anything, let me know. As always, I'm very, very proud of you. We have almost doubled our appointment goal. We've had 110 appointments in the month of January and 45 listings taken. So I want to congratulate you on that. If you have not put in your numbers for January, will you please, please, please take a moment to do so, okay? I don't want you to too much time to get by and you couldn't find the piece of paper or couldn't remember or anything like that. Just put it there and it's acknowledging what happened, okay? If you need improvement, let's improve it together. All right, you guys, have a wonderful day. Thank you for hanging out for a little extra today. And this video will be on